My fiancé has a female friend. He has liked her for 10 years and once confessed when drunk. I don't dare to confess my feelings because I'm afraid that if I do, we won't even be able to be friends anymore. I wasn't angry. Instead, I quietly bought rings and ordered a wedding dress. My fiancé privately complained to his friends that I was forcing him to get married and even joked that he would leave me hanging at the wedding. Until he realized that this wedding had nothing to do with him at all. This one will do. In the wedding dress shop, I finally chose the dress. The salesperson asked me, "Do you need to ask your fiancé for his opinion?" In the whole shop, all the other girls were accompanied by their boyfriends, while I was alone. I smiled and said, "No need. He'll like it." While sitting on the sofa waiting to pay, my phone alerted me that a post I was following had been updated. The title of the post was 10 Years of Loving a Girl, and the person who posted it was a boy. Countless people below urged him, "Hurry up and confess." He said, "I don't dare. I'm afraid that if I confess, we won't even be able to be friends anymore." The person who posted this was my fiancé, Ronan. When I got home, Ronan was drinking with his friends. Among a group of boys, there was only one girl. She had a hot figure, was wearing black stockings, and casually sat on the sofa with her legs crossed, not caring about anything. I knew this girl. Her name was Luna. She was Ronan's good friend. "All of you, whoever gets a girlfriend has to let me, your dad, check it out first, you know?" Immediately, someone started to stir things up. "Ronan's girlfriend is almost getting married, right?" Luna's smile froze for a moment. She kicked Ronan with her foot in black stockings. "Hey? You're quite something. No wonder you seldom came out to play with us recently. So you're getting married? You value sex over friendship." Ronan leaned lazily back on the sofa, half hiding and half not hiding. "Nothing of the sort. Don't be shy. If you're really getting married, I'll definitely give you a big red envelope." Luna smiled and patted Ronan, but somehow her eyes turned a bit red. She picked up the wine bottle and took a few sips. Ronan looked at her and said, "Stop drinking. Mind your own business. You've drunk too much." "Fuck you. I haven't drunk too much. I'll drink if I want to. It's none of your business." As Luna said this, she seemed to be unable to hold her liquor and gradually leaned her whole body against Ronan. "Ronan," she murmured as if she was about to say something. Ronan couldn't hear clearly. He lowered his head and put his ear close to the girl's lips. The atmosphere became extremely ambiguous at this moment. However, bang! It was me opening the door. The whole room fell silent for a moment. I didn't look at any of them. I put down my bag, changed my shoes, and went into the study. I didn't say a word throughout the whole process. Gradually, voices came from outside the room. Someone said, "Ronan, sister-in-law seems unhappy." They thought I was angry and was giving Ronan a cold shoulder. Ronan probably thought so too. Only his voice came, "Leave her alone." He played a song on the stereo, and the cold atmosphere in the living room gradually became lively again. Luna fell asleep lying beside him. Ronan took off his coat and covered her with it. Someone said to Ronan, "Ronan, ask sister-in-law to come out and play with us." Ronan said in a flat voice, "No need. She's socially anxious." I was indeed socially anxious. To be more precise, I had anxiety disorder. My hands would shake and I'd break out in a cold sweat when speaking in a crowd. Therefore, I didn't have much social life and my whole life revolved around Ronan. He once kissed me tenderly and said, "Selena, I'm so lucky to meet a girl like you who only has eyes for me." But now, what used to be an advantage had become a disadvantage. You don't understand. I really hope she can go out and socialize more and make some friends. Ronan took a sip of wine and complained. Someone joked, "Sister-in-law is so beautiful. If she really goes out to socialize, there will surely be lots of people rushing to ask for her WeChat. Then she won't have time to pay attention to you." Ronan laughed and said, "Let her go. Let her get to know more other men. Don't be so clingy to me like now." His voice was very relaxed, certain that I wouldn't actually go. I needed to go to the hospital regularly to get medicine for my anxiety disorder, so I couldn't participate in any social activities at all. The so-called fairness that both sides could make friends with the opposite sex was actually just to fulfill his own freedom. But it didn't matter. I didn't care anymore. I took out my iPad and started drawing the design sketch of the wedding invitation. In the upper left corner, I outlined the initials of the bride and groom in cursive letters. TCHISUI Joe. The bride was me, Selena. The groom wasn't Ronan, though. After finishing drawing this invitation, I was going to marry the person I wanted to marry when I was 16. Ronan thought I was having a cold war with him. He didn't coax me either and went to sleep alone at night. I drew until midnight. When I took a break and checked my phone, I found a "people you may know" in my contacts list. It was Luna. Her latest post was posted 30 minutes ago. In the video, she took a sip of wine and kissed Ronan amid the cheers of a group of people. The accompanying caption was, "Childhood sweethearts, but just a lip friendship." The location was the living room of my house. In the warm yellow light, the silhouettes of her and Ronan looked so good together, with a strong romantic atmosphere. In the comment section, many people who didn't know the situation shouted, "You two are a perfect match." There were also a few scattered comments saying, "I can't stand it. It's so ambiguous. Why say it's friendship? The world has become so abstract that I don't understand it." These comments were quickly besieged by a group of people. Luna herself replied, "Don't be so obsessed with romantic relationships, okay? I'm close to both guys and girls. I'll kiss pretty girls even more passionately." Her bold statement attracted a bunch of new replies. "Ah, I'm okay with it. Sister, kiss me." Somehow, I couldn't help laughing when I read these. My eyes felt a bit hot and tears flowed down. But it wasn't because of Luna or Ronan. It was the 4 words, "childhood sweethearts," that suddenly reminded me of my James. I hadn't dared to recall James so seriously for a long time. White shirt, ice-cold soda, and the rebellious eyebrows and eyes of the boy in the sunlight. I rushed up and hugged him when he made the last three-pointer at the buzzer. He blushed in the thunderous cheers. "Hey, this kind of thing can only be done with a girlfriend. Why, aren't you happy?" My heart sank. "No, it's just too soon." He took out his phone and checked the order in a flurry. "The flowers I bought are still on the way." Later, James bought a car. The first thing he did was to put a label on the passenger seat, "Selena's exclusive seat." He also bought a little rabbit, "Here, seat saver." He patted the cute little rabbit's head. "When Selena isn't here, you have to save the seat for her. Don't let others sit there, okay? We were together for 7 years." James bought a new little rabbit every year. He said, "When we collect 7 rabbits to summon the dragon, I'll apply to officially become your husband." He didn't lie to me. In the little apron of the 7th rabbit, there was a big diamond ring hidden. That was the last gift James left for me. He didn't get to give it to me in person. In the end, I got it from the police. The little rabbit with the blue apron was mixed among a pile of evidence at the car accident scene. All the other things were stained with dark brown to black blood. Only this rabbit had a bright and clean white fluffy smiling face, spotless. The police said that James hid it in his arms before he died and protected it very well. At this moment, that little rabbit was placed on my bedside together with the other ones. I walked over and gently stroked their heads. "James, I miss you so much." "How could I miss you so much?" Suddenly, my hand stopped. No, it wasn't there. The little rabbit in the blue apron wasn't here. Coldness suddenly overwhelmed me. A dizzy spell hit me. I opened my eyes wide and then realized that the sheets and quilt were all wrinkled, and there were 2 long chestnut hairs on the pillow. Someone had slept in my room last night. But I couldn't care about that anymore. I just wanted to find the little rabbit that James left for me. I searched everywhere in the house like crazy and finally found it in the trash can in the kitchen. The little rabbit was mixed among a pile of food scraps. Its body had become very dirty, and there was a black footprint on it. It was from a high-heeled shoe. Blood suddenly rushed to my head. I rushed to the door of Ronan's bedroom and pounded on the door heavily. A few seconds later, he opened the door. "Come to make up?" He smiled lazily. Ronan thought I was coming to make peace. It had always been like this in the past. When I was angry, he didn't care. During the long Cold War, it was always me who bowed my head first, knocked on the door and coaxed him. But at this moment, I held up the rabbit and asked, "What's going on here?" Ronan's smile disappeared and he impatiently tried to close the door. "How would I know?" I suddenly exploded. Pushing hard against the door, I stared into Ronan's eyes. "Who did you let sleep in my room last night?" "Luna, right?" Ronan's eyes showed guilt for just a short moment. But then he became irritable and impatient. "Yes, so what?" "She drank too much. It wasn't safe for a girl to go back alone at night." There was a crisp sound in the air. I slapped Ronan across the face. Ronan was stunned. Then he became extremely angry. "Are you crazy? There's nothing between us. If there was really something, I would have let her sleep in the master bedroom, okay? I looked at his face. After a long while, I lowered my eyes blankly. Let's break up. James, you told me that I must live happily and must find someone who loves me as much as you do. But now I understand. There's no one like you. Say that again? I heard Ronan's voice. He was really angry. We're breaking up. I repeated expressionlessly. Without looking at Ronan's expression anymore, I turned my head, took the rabbit and went into the bathroom, and started scrubbing it hard. As I washed it, tears kept falling. Ronan's voice came from outside. Selena, are you fucking crazy? How much is a rabbit worth? I'll buy you 10 more, okay? Only the sound of running water answered him. Ronan's patience was completely exhausted. He turned around and slammed the door and left, leaving me alone at home. It took me a long time to wash the rabbit clean. I hung it out on the balcony. In the wind under the clear sky, it gradually became snow-white, fluffy and warm. It would be okay. Then, I should be okay too, right? I found a homestay that could be rented for a long term online and then packed my things. There weren't many. A small package could hold them all. The only things that needed to be packed were the row of rabbits beside the bed, the ones with bows, wearing jerseys, wearing sunglasses. The only one that made me hesitate was the rabbit in a spacesuit. Among all the rabbits, this was the only one that Ronan bought for me. At that time, we weren't together yet. Ronan put a lot of effort into chasing me. His family was wealthy. Since he was a child, whenever he met a girl he liked, he knew to spend money on her, and he could basically win her over. Except for me. The luxury goods he bought for me, I returned them intact. When he took me to high-end restaurants, I quickly treated him back. Finally, he somehow found out that I liked this series of little rabbits. At that time, The Rabbit in a Spacesuit was about to be released. It was a limited edition. He took a plane overnight to the release site in Shanghai. He queued for more than 10 hours among a sea of people and almost got into a fight with others. Finally, he managed to grab the last one. When I found him, his head was sweaty and there were scratches on his face, but he waved at me vigorously across the crowd. Look. Selena. What is this? He stood tall among the crowd, with a bright smile like the sun. He really looked like James. On that day, I couldn't help it and burst into tears while hugging the rabbit. Ronan stood beside me, comforting me at a loss. Don't cry, don't cry. These little scratches don't hurt. I'll buy you every one in the future. At that instant, my thoughts drifted back to an afternoon many years ago. I was sitting on a bench in the university campus with James, basking in the sun. Suddenly, he asked me, if I got a terminal illness, what would you do? Pa. I jumped up and tried to hit James' mouth. He dodged everywhere. I said if. Then I'll send you off first and then commit suicide with you. Are you satisfied now? No. James pressed me into his arms. His expression suddenly became very serious. Selena, listen to me. You should live well and happily, and find someone who loves you as much as I do. You should also love him well because loving is a happier thing than being loved. I want to watch you be happy. Only when you're happy will I be happy in heaven. James, do you know? In the second year after you left, when Ronan held up that rabbit to me among the crowd, I thought that person had appeared. I would try my best to live, try my best to put everything related to you away in my memories, and make room in my heart for him. Try my best to be happy, but now I understand. There's no one like you. There won't be anyone like you in the future either. I put the rabbit in a spacesuit into my bag. It grinned at me, cute and naughty. I'm going to give you back. I touched its head and said softly. Ronan didn't answer my calls. Fortunately, he only liked to go to a few places. I found him in a KTV box. When I entered, his friends greeted me one after another. Sister-in-law is here. Sister-in-law, sit here. They gave up the seat beside Ronan for me. Ronan had a cold face, staring at the screen with the lyrics scrolling on it, not looking at me. He thought I was coming to bow my head and make peace, so he was waiting for my apology. I didn't go over there. I sat in the seat at the very edge. No need. I'll just sit here. Ronan frowned. Luna beside him smiled and pushed him. She's angry. Hurry up and coax her. Ronan didn't look at me or her. Order a song. Whose turn is it next? He deliberately ignored me. Ronan knew that I would feel anxious in a crowd, so in the past when he took me out, he always sat beside me, for fear that he couldn't take care of me. Now he deliberately ignored me, just waiting for my anxiety disorder to flare up and force me to bow my head to him. Luna smiled. You brat, you have such a bad temper. Don't you know how to cherish a beauty? She walked towards me with a glass of wine in her hand. Ronan is such a straight guy. Baby, don't argue with him. She affectionately put her arm around me. In the next moment, the wine glass suddenly tipped over. A whole glass of ice-cold whiskey spilled all over me. I was wearing white clothes and my chest was completely wet, looking extremely embarrassed. No, I was kind enough to persuade you. Why did you push me? Before I could say anything, Luna had already taken the preemptive move. She fell backward, bumped into the cabinet behind her, and now she was covering her waist, looking like she was in great pain. The boy beside her also chimed in. Ronan, your girlfriend is really mean. You two had a fight, but it's not right for her to vent her anger on Luna. I turned my head and stared at the boy. There was a scar on his forehead. I recognized him. Finn. In high school, he was Luna's little follower. Finn felt creepy when I stared at him. He swallowed. Ronan. Ronan had already walked over. He helped Luna up. Where did you bump? Does it hurt? Luna's eyes were red. She held back her tears and said, It's okay. Just coax your girlfriend. Ronan suppressed his anger and turned to look at me. Apologize. I didn't say anything and just quietly looked at him. Apologize. His voice got louder. Luna tugged at the corner of his clothes. Oh, don't quarrel because of me. She said this while standing behind Ronan, looking at me with a smug face. Ronan didn't know that when I came over just now, I had met Luna in the corridor. She looked at me with a smile on her face. I really didn't expect that a bitch like you could seduce Ronan. She added, he's like me for 10 years. Believe it or not, I just need to beckon with my finger, and he'll dump you and come back to me. At this moment, she stood behind Ronan, looking at me. Her face was full of the look that she had won. Ronan repeated, I'll ask you one last time. Will you apologize or not? The music from the next room came, vibrating my eardrums. I seldom spoke on such occasions. Speaking in any public place would make my hands shake and my heart palpitate. But at this moment, I suddenly smiled. I said, It's you who should apologize. Luna, and you, Finn. You both should apologize to me. I wasn't born with anxiety disorder. Before I was 16, everyone said Selena was like a little sun, lively, bright and warm. When did things start to change? Probably it began when my mother remarried Luna's father. In fact, it was just a very ordinary family reorganization, but somehow, rumors started spreading in school that my mother had become a mistress and got into that position. The rumors spread wider and wider, and I became the daughter of a mistress. I tried to explain, but no one believed me. All kinds of versions began to spread on the school's post bar. Do you know? Actually, Selena's mother has been teaching Selena the skills of being a mistress all the time. No wonder Selena always looks so flirtatious when she talks to boys. It turns out it's in the family tradition. Tell me, Selena always goes in and out of the principal's office, and then the principal gave her the first-class scholarship. Could it be that? It's terrifying when you think about it carefully. How old is the principal? She's really shameless. It's a family of mistresses. You have to sacrifice something to achieve your goals. There's nothing they won't do. Then campus bullying followed. During class, as long as I was called to answer questions, there would be all kinds of strange laughter from below. During the art performance, there were laser pointers shining on my eyes from the audience. Whatever I said would be recorded and magnified and interpreted infinitely on the post bar. Gradually, I didn't dare to speak anymore, avoided talking to anyone, and went to and from class silently every day. That was when James appeared. He dragged the boy who shone the laser pointer at my eyes out of the audience and punched him on the bridge of the nose. Many people went to pull him, and a group of the boy's cronies took advantage of the chaos to hit James. James soon had blood on his face, but he didn't seem to care at all. He just pinned the instigator firmly to the ground and punched steadily, again and again. The expression on his face was calm and focused, exactly the same as when he was participating in the International Olympiad. The incident caused a big stir. The boy's father was the deputy general manager of a certain group. He brought people to find the principal to demand an explanation. James lost his national award and the qualification for excellence evaluation because of this. For the first time since he was a child, the good student got a demerit. When he finally came out of the principal's office, many people went up to care about him. Girls surrounded him, and Luna was among them. She held a tissue and said with a sob, "James, the wound on your face is bleeding. It makes people feel so distressed." James pushed her away and walked towards me. I lowered my head, not daring to look at him, and turned to leave. Because I was afraid that my bad reputation would affect him, I hadn't talked to James for a long time. My wrist was suddenly grabbed. "Running away from me again, little childhood sweetheart?" James' voice was low, sounding aggrieved. As soon as I turned around and saw the wound on his face, tears immediately fell down. Don't cry, don't cry. It doesn't hurt." He smiled gently. "It's worth getting this little wound if it makes you finally talk to me. I don't mind. Those posts on the post bar were all posted by you, right?" In the KTV box, I looked at Luna, and then my eyes turned to Finn. "And you, was it fun to shine the laser pointer at other people's eyes? If someone hadn't stopped you, I would have gone blind long ago. If an apology is really needed, shouldn't it be you who should apologize to me?" Finn lowered his head, not daring to look at me. But Luna just blinked her eyes and then stood up. "Are you crazy? Who posted things about you? Do you have any evidence before you talk nonsense here? Is your persecution paranoia acting up again?" She took a look at Ronan, who was standing aside, and said with a bitter smile, "I get it. You just misunderstand the relationship between me and Ronan, so you want to smear me in front of him. Ronan, do you believe her?" Luna looked at Ronan. Ronan had a gloomy face and didn't say a word. "Got it." Luna smiled palely. "You men all fall for this. Okay, then I'll apologize to your dear girlfriend." She walked towards me. Perhaps because she was drunk, she walked unsteadily. Her foot in high heels slipped, and she fell to the ground directly. Ronan rushed over to support her. "Let me go." Luna's eyes were red. She struggled with a sob. "Why are you still bothering with me? Don't you believe her already?" "I believe you," Ronan said. He didn't even look at me. "Who wants you to believe me? Go away." Luna pushed Ronan but then buried herself in Ronan's arms and started crying. Luna, who had always been proud, willful and bold, seldom showed such a vulnerable side. Ronan felt extremely distressed. He stroked Luna's head and kept whispering, "I've known you for over 10 years. Don't I know what kind of person you are?" Luna's hand had been covering her ankle. Ronan noticed it and asked gently, "Did you sprain it?" Luna sniffed and pretended to be strong and said, "It doesn't hurt." "Don't be brave." Ronan picked Luna up. "What are you doing?" Luna shouted and struggled slightly. "What are you doing? Put me down. Stop making trouble. If you keep making trouble, I'll let you hop to the hospital." "I'll hop then." Luna didn't admit defeat verbally, but obediently put her arms around Ronan's neck. She turned her head to look at me. In the dim light of the KTV, she mouthed to me, "Bitch." It was exactly the same as what she called me on the school's post bar many years ago. "Ronan." I called his name. Ronan stopped. I took out the key to his house from my bag and put it on the table together with the rabbit in the spacesuit. Seemingly recognizing what the sound was, Ronan's back seemed to freeze for a moment. But then he walked forward without looking back. Ronan's perspective. When Ronan walked out of the KTV carrying Luna, he stood in the night for quite a while. "Hasn't the driver come yet?" Luna muttered unhappily in a low voice. Ronan didn't say anything, and his chest rose and fell slightly. He belatedly realized that he was standing here actually waiting for Selena to come out and chase after him. He knew Selena too well. Selena couldn't really want to break up. Ronan was familiar with this kind of trick. Girls always talked about breaking up when they quarreled, but in fact, they just hoped that the boys would be the first to bow their heads and coax them. But why should he be the first to bow his head? Since he was a child, he had always been chased by girls. When breaking up, he was always the one who dumped others. He had never been dumped before. He thought he had been quite indulgent to Selena. He gave her whatever she wanted. Sometimes, after a tiring day of business negotiations, he still patiently accompanied her and tried to make her happy. Why was it like this? He didn't like her that much, actually. Probably it was just because he didn't want to see her cry. Selena looked so obedient, really like a little rabbit. When she cried, she hardly made any noise. Only her eyes would turn red. Whenever this happened, Ronan's heart would also feel like being scratched by the little rabbit's paws, bringing a fine and torturous pain. Just now, he had actually decided that as long as Selena shed a single tear and said a few soft words, he would choose her. But she had repeatedly threatened him with breaking up, from home all the way to the KTV. This time he definitely wouldn't give in again. Ronan stood in the night, thinking that although he couldn't spoil Selena anymore, if she really chased after him, he would give her one more chance. After all, she really loved him. Without him, he didn't know how she could continue to live. With this thought in mind, Ronan stood there for a while longer. But Selena never came out. The temperature was even lower late at night. Ronan's thin shirt was soaked with the cold, and his anger suddenly flared up. Fine, you're not coming out, right? Well, then don't ever come. Ronan strode quickly and got into the car with Luna. He didn't listen to what Luna said along the way. There was only one sentence in his mind: she'll surely regret it. Ronan deliberately stayed in the hospital for several days. It was as if Luna was cooperating with him. At first, she just sprained her ankle, and then she kept saying that she had a headache and a fever later. She always said that she wasn't feeling well while pretending to be strong and telling Ronan that she was okay and urging him to go home quickly to accompany Selena. Ronan had a spoiled temper. The more Luna said that, the more irritable he became. Go home? Hell no. I've already broken up with her. Didn't you hear that? After saying that, Ronan would still secretly open his phone and quietly check if there were any new messages. There were some, but they were all from others. Selena's chat interface had never been updated. The last message was sent before they met in the KTV. She said she was coming to return his things. Ronan didn't believe it at that time. All that talk about returning things was just an excuse. Things like, you left something at my house, I want to return the gift you gave me in person, I still have something I want to make clear to you face to face, were all just excuses for girls. It was nothing more than wanting to make up but being too embarrassed to say so. But Ronan was also willing to give Selena a way out. As long as she came to apologize and coaxed him a little to help him save face in front of his friends, he would go home with her. He didn't expect that Selena wouldn't apologize at all and even left him the key to the house. The more Ronan thought about it, the angrier he got. You really shouldn't spoil women. He had been too nice to Selena from the beginning and spoiled her so much that she became completely uncontrollable. Thinking of this, Ronan simply raised his glass, took a picture of Luna's silhouette, and then posted it on Moments. It was only visible to Selena. He was trying to anger her. It was also a show of strength. I've never lacked girls around me. If you don't come back, don't regret it. After leaving Ronan, I rented a suite in a homestay for a long term. One day, the front desk suddenly sent me a message: Miss Selena, someone is looking for you. It was Mom. She was wearing an expensive suit, had newly permed curly hair, and was wearing a gemstone necklace. Why did you move out of Ronan's house? We hadn't contacted each other for almost 10 years. This was the first sentence she asked me after 10 years. Mom said, do you know that the Ronan family's influence spans both the political and business circles, and Ronan is an only child? You must have burned incense for several lifetimes to make him take a liking to you. Why don't you seize this opportunity and hold on to him tightly? Seeing that I didn't say anything, she said with a bit of disappointment, I heard that you were choosing a wedding dress and buying a ring to force him to marry you before. Why are you hiding here and sulking now? If you give up just because of a little setback, what can you achieve? Listen to Mom. Don't be impulsive. How many young masters from wealthy families are willing to settle down at a young age? Marriage is a business. As long as he signs the contract. I suddenly interrupted her. Then when you helped Luna back then, were you also using me as a business deal? Mom was stunned. Then, her guilt turned into anger. Selena, is this how you talk to your mother? When did I ever use you as a business deal? I smiled. When Luna bullied me, you chose to pretend to be deaf and mute. I collected the materials to report Luna to the school, but you secretly destroyed them. From that moment on, I had already decided that I didn't have a mother anymore. Mom bent down as if she had been stabbed. She pointed at me tremblingly. I did it all for your own good. If you reported Luna, how could we two continue to stay in the Aziel family? I tried every way to earn more money. Wasn't it all for you? I said calmly, I don't want your money. The person I love is dead. What's the use of having money? Mom might have cried. She was old. I was the only blood relative she had in this world, yet I refused to forgive her. I went into the inner room, closed the door, and hugged the little rabbit that James gave me. Only you will stand firmly by my side. So, I don't want anyone except you. Mom stood outside for a long time. Finally, she left. Before leaving, she left me a gift. I originally prepared this in case Aziel wanted to dump me one day. I could use this to blackmail him to give me more property. Now, forget it. There's no one to inherit the extra money anyway. So I'll give this to you. After she left, I opened the door. When I saw clearly the gift she left, I started trembling all over. It was a string of Laoshan sandalwood Buddhist beads and a USB flash drive. I picked up the string of Buddhist beads tremblingly. The string had been broken and then mended. I counted them. There were 13 beads in total. The number of beads in this kind of bracelet is particular. There's no such thing as 13 beads. The only possibility was that some beads were missing. I knew where they were lost. Among the evidence of James' car accident, there was a blood-stained Laoshan sandalwood bead. Trembling, I inserted the USB flash drive into the computer. There was a photo and a recording inside. The photo showed Luna and her father worshipping the Buddha together. She was wearing this string of Laoshan sandalwood Buddhist beads on her hand. And the moment I clicked on the recording, Luna's voice rang out. "Dad, help me. I think I hit someone." It was like a basin of ice water being poured over my head. The blood in my body ran cold. The KTV is always so lively. There are countless unjust cases, pains, partings and deaths in the outside world. But once you step inside here, there are only alcohol, music and a life of luxury and dissipation. It really makes people want to indulge themselves all the time. I pushed open the heavy door of the private room. The moment the people inside saw me, they were all stunned. Damn it. Why is it her? How shameless. She broke up and now comes back to pester him again. Ronan is already with Luna. This woman wants to be a mistress again by coming back. It's really hilarious. The one with the loudest voice in the lead was Finn. Luna sat there with a wine glass in her hand, not saying a word, with a look of watching a good show in her eyes. I ignored everyone's gazes and just walked slowly to Ronan's front. He didn't look at me and didn't say a word either. The light in the private room flickered across his face. I said, "Ronan, I'm sorry." He didn't move. I took a deep breath. "Forgive me, okay? I won't make trouble anymore in the future. I really can't live without you." Tears fell down, and one of them dropped on Ronan's leg. He seemed to be scalded. Just as Ronan turned his head to look at me, his phone suddenly rang. He took a look at me and said in a cold tone, "Wait for me here." After saying that, he took his phone and went out. I sat there uncomfortably. All the people in the private room were Ronan's friends, and my anxiety disorder soon flared up. Luna had been ignoring me while drinking all along, acting as if she couldn't see me. It wasn't until I got up that she came over and grabbed me. "Don't go. Since you're here, we're all friends. Let's play together." Luna handed me a glass of wine. "Come on, cheers." It was a full glass of whiskey with a huge ice ball floating in it. Even just holding the glass for a few seconds, my hand was already freezing cold. I couldn't eat or drink anything cold since I was a child. Ronan knew that. Luna also knew that. Finn saw that I didn't move with the glass in my hand and started complaining loudly, "Why don't you drink? Won't you even give Luna this bit of face?" Immediately, there was a chorus of jeering. Luna was kind enough to play with her, but she's slapping Luna in the face instead. Hey, she's just jealous. She's quarreled with Ronan so many times because of Luna. This time, they even broke up, and now she's come back with her tail between her legs. Luna looked at me with a smile. Her face was beautiful, and there was no string of Laoshan sandalwood Buddhist beads on her wrist. That thing had warded off a disaster for her once. It was stained with James' blood and couldn't be worn anymore. I tilted my head back and gulped down the whole glass of wine. Luna was stunned for a moment and then laughed. "Didn't you say you couldn't drink before? I think you can drink quite well now." She started inviting me to play games. After staying in the crowd for a long time, my hands soon started shaking. Besides, I wasn't familiar with the drinking games at the table, and I lost every time. One glass of wine after another was poured down, and my consciousness gradually became blurred. I heard a distant voice beside me. It was Luna's laughter. "Finn, how long have you been single?" 2 weeks, sister." "Oh, aren't you lonely then?" "Of course I'm lonely. How could I not be? But there are fewer and fewer good-looking girls these days. They all look like monsters without makeup. What do you think of Selena?" "Selena is definitely good-looking. But it's not right, sister. After all, she belongs to Ronan." "What do you mean by belonging to Ronan?" "Ronan has never taken her seriously," Luna said. "Don't worry. I'll cover for you if anything happens." Perhaps because he had drunk too much wine, Finn became bolder. He came up and pulled me. "Then thank you, Luna. I was pulled up from the sofa by him, but almost instantly, I fell back again. There was a loud noise of a wine bottle shattering, accompanied by Finn's shrill scream. It was Ronan. He held a mobile phone in one hand expressionlessly and a broken wine bottle in the other. Finn covered his head and fell to the ground screaming. Luna's face turned pale. She said, "Ronan." Ronan didn't look at Luna. He quickly walked up to me. I was picked up and fell into a warm embrace. "Selina, Selina, are you okay?" I heard the man's voice asking anxiously. "I'll be okay, James." When I lost consciousness, I was still tightly holding the ring engraved with the initials. TCHISUIJ. Each letter is more eternal than diamonds. I slept for a long time and had a long dream. In the dream, James happily bought the little rabbit with the blue apron and then carefully studied how to hide the diamond ring in the pocket of the little apron. He walked out of the store with infinite hope until a car sped over and everything came to an abrupt end. James the first woke up calling his name, covered in cold sweat. In front of me was Ronan's face. He looked at me with concern and anxiety. But the moment he saw me open my eyes, he quickly restrained his expression and became cold and reserved. "What kind of nightmare scared you like this?" I huddled under the quilt, and tears slowly and belatedly covered my face. "I dreamed." I covered my face and started trembling. "I dreamed that James didn't want me anymore." Ronan's figure froze slightly. He walked over slowly and hugged me into his arms. "You're so afraid that I don't want you, yet you still quarreled with me?" he said. "Also, I just took my eyes off you for a moment, and you gulped down a whole glass of ice-cold wine. Do you think your life is too long?" I lowered my head and let him scold me. After a long while, I said in a low voice, "You asked me to wait for you inside. I was afraid that if I didn't drink, I wouldn't be able to wait for you." Ronan was silent. After a long while, he threw out a sentence, "You're so stupid," and got up to smoke outside. The nurse came in to adjust the drip for me and smiled and joked, "Your fiancé was so worried about you. He hardly slept these 2 days." "Fiancé?" When he was waiting outside, he kept wearing your engagement ring on his hand and rubbing it repeatedly. The nurse smiled and sighed, "He really cares about you a lot." He was holding the pair of rings customized by James. After Ronan came back from smoking, he saw me staring at the ring on his hand. "What? This? It doesn't seem suitable for you." I chose my words carefully. Fortunately, he took it off quickly and threw it to me. "Indeed not suitable. It's an old style from many years ago." He took out his phone and transferred money to me. "Go and pick out a new pair. The engraving design of this one is very nice. Keep it the same." Of course it's nice, because it was designed by James and me together. I carefully put the ring away and then looked up and smiled obediently at him. "Does this mean you've agreed to marry me?" Ronan paused for a moment and walked to the balcony of the ward and lit a cigarette. The firelight shone on his side face, flickering on and off, and his voice came faintly, "Yes, I've agreed." The wedding was officially put on the agenda. I needed to be hospitalized because of gastroenteritis, so Ronan took care of most of the affairs. From the venue to the bouquet, he carefully arranged everything and came to ask about my preferences from time to time. Sometimes I had the illusion that he really loved me. But it was just an illusion after all. The name on one of the invitations wasn't written clearly. When I took it to ask Ronan, I heard his conversation with his friend outside the door. Finn had gauze wrapped around his head and was full of flattery. "Ronan, are you really going to marry Selina? Congratulations." Ronan paused for a moment and sneered, "How could that be possible? Her temper has been spoiled by me. She wants to break up whenever she wants and wants to get married whenever she wants. What does she take me for?" Finn was filled with righteous indignation. "That's right. What does she take our Ronan for? Does she think he's at her beck and call?" Ronan's face turned cold as he looked at Finn. Finn was so scared that he quickly shut up. Ronan took a sip of wine. "So, I have to teach her a lesson to make her behave. This was his punishment for me. He wanted to leave me at the wedding venue to get revenge on me for dumping him in front of so many people before. I didn't go in and turned around and left. Ronan came to the hospital to see me very late. However, the ward was empty and there was no one there. Ronan suddenly panicked. He grabbed the nurse. "Where is she?" The nurse stammered, I don't know. She was still here in the afternoon." By the time I arrived at the hospital, Ronan had gone crazy with anxiety. All the doctors and nurses were affected by his anger and were trembling as they busily tried to find me. Ronan was on the phone with his subordinate. "Dispatch the cars and check the surveillance. Fujino authority?" "Who said there's no authority?" Call Zhao Haimin from the Public Security Bureau. Ronan. I called him softly. He froze and turned around to look at me. I thought he would lose his temper, but he just rushed over and hugged me tightly. Where have you been? He said, his voice low and a bit shaky. I went to visit James' grave. Today is his birthday, and I bought a cake to accompany him. He liked blowing out the candles but hated sweet things, so every time the cake ended up in my stomach. I always complained, having a birthday for you is making me so fat. Fortunately, this time, the way we celebrate his birthday doesn't have to change. The wind blew out the candles. I looked at James in the photo. Finished making your wish? Then I'll eat the cake. I ate the whole cake bit by bit, then touched my belly and sighed, I'm really getting fat. James in the photo looked at me, still smiling brightly. At this moment, I touched Ronan's nape. I just sneaked out for a walk. I'm sorry. This hug seemed to reassure Ronan, and he hugged me even tighter. Don't you dare run around again. The doctors and nurses were all marveling at his love for me. President Ronan is really afraid of losing Miss Selena. Is that so? Ronan, are you afraid of losing me or the bride who would cooperate with you in the farce of running away from the wedding? Although I sneered in my heart, I still hugged Ronan's neck tightly, because I saw that at the end of the corridor, Luna was standing there. She looked at us hugging tightly, and her eyes were full of resentment. I knew Luna was panicked. Over the years, when she looked at me, it was always like a cat looking at a mouse. It wasn't enough just to devour me, she had to play with me slowly to have fun. But now, she finally felt out of control. Even though Finn had told her that Ronan couldn't possibly marry me, Luna still felt uneasy because Ronan seemed to love me so much. Whenever I said I wasn't feeling well, he would immediately leave the company meeting and go home to accompany me. I pushed him away shyly. There are doctors and nannies. Why did you come back? He made porridge for me with a cold face and said, can they compare to me? I acted coquettishly and happily and took small sips of the porridge from his hand. Luna called several times to ask Ronan to go out drinking. Ronan refused all of them. Luna then scolded him for valuing sex over friendship. He didn't refute either. He just smiled and said, I've been wild for over 20 years. Now that I'm getting married, it's time to settle down. Mom called me. She said, Ronan might really become a good husband. For the sake of the evidence she gave me, I didn't hang up and listened patiently. Mom took a deep breath and tried to persuade me, I know what you want to do. But think about it again, okay? Mom, with the experience of someone who's been through it, tells you that Ronan really loves you. I smiled and said, okay. Then I hung up. She helped me, but she wasn't my ally. So I didn't need to tell her the truth either. I just clicked into the post titled, 10 Years of Loving a Girl. There was an update. I'm getting married to another girl. Let's call her Miss S. Miss S loves me very much. I'm the only one in her world. I can't let her down. Life is always like this. It's hard to have both the person you love and the person who loves you. Maybe I'm not a brave enough person. In the end, I chose the one who loves me. There were countless comments below scolding the poster as a scumbag, but he seemed to accept it and didn't reply. Only one comment stirred him. What if the girl you love also loves you? The poster replied, I'm tired. I've been thinking about whether she loves me or not for 10 years. I don't want to struggle with it anymore, unless what? Unless she's willing to be brave for me once. Forget it. It's impossible. The wedding day finally arrived as scheduled. The Ronan family booked the best hotel in Zhongcheng. The guests coming and going were all celebrities. There were even self-media people holding mobile phones to do live broadcasts. Some were invited guests, and some sneaked in to grab the spotlight. The waiters cleared the venue several times, but there were still people hiding in corners to take pictures. It was impossible to manage them all. I was wearing a white wedding dress, sitting in the dressing room. The makeup artist had just finished arranging my makeup and hair. The master of ceremonies was pacing around anxiously. Where's the groom? The master of ceremonies said anxiously. Why hasn't the groom arrived yet? What time is it already? I said, I'll make a phone call to contact him. I put on a coat over my wedding dress, avoided everyone's sight, and ran all the way to the roadside. There was a car I had reserved in advance parked there. To the seaside. My James grew up by the sea and loved the sea the most. So for his wedding, it naturally had to be by the sea. When the car was driving away, it passed by another car. I saw Ronan inside. But he didn't see me. So he did come after all. Unfortunately, it was already too late. Ronan rushed into the venue. He had drunk too much at the bachelor party the night before. When he woke up, there were only 15 minutes left before the wedding started. And Finn was still holding him back. "Ronan, didn't you say you were going to leave sister-in-law hanging?" Ronan rubbed his aching head from the hangover. He had indeed said that. When he was drunk. But he regretted it. He thought about how Selena would look when she was left at the wedding. She would cry, right? Her eyes would look like those of a little rabbit, all red. Thinking of this, a fine pain had already risen in his heart. Kicking Finn away, Ronan asked the driver to speed all the way to the wedding venue. "Selena." Ronan rushed to the dressing room, but then he froze. The dressing room was empty. "Where's the bride?" "She just went out." Maybe she's in the front hall?" Ronan immediately rushed to the front hall. In fact, by this time, he already had a bad premonition. Others didn't know Selena, but he did. The front hall was crowded with people coming and going. Selena had anxiety disorder. Logically, she wouldn't go there alone. But he refused to believe in a worse possibility. Ronan rushed to the front hall. He saw a figure in a wedding dress with her back to him. At that moment, Ronan was almost on the verge of crying with joy. "Selena." The figure turned around. Ronan froze. It wasn't Selena. It was Luna. Luna walked up to Ronan. She raised her head, like a beautiful and proud swan. "Ronan, I'm willing to be brave for you this time." She thought she would see a touched expression on Ronan's face. But the fact was that Ronan took a step back. He was dazed and panicked. "What are you talking about? Why are you wearing a wedding dress? Where's Selena?" This was completely different from what Luna had imagined. She had invited many bloggers to do live broadcasts. On the surface, she said it was to witness the wedding of the Ronan family, but in fact, she wanted everyone to see that Ronan had abandoned Selena and chosen her. The more people emphasize that they don't care about something, the more they actually care about it. Luna had lived for over 20 years. She always emphasized that she didn't compare herself with other girls. In fact, she liked comparing herself with other girls the most. Especially with Selena. Selena was Luna's curse. She needed this victory witnessed by everyone to get rid of her inner demons of so many years. Her voice uncontrollably became shrill. "Ronan, I love you. You said that as long as I was brave once, you would believe me." She wanted to hug Ronan, but Ronan dodged her. We're friends, as you said." "What friends? You've clearly liked me for 10 years. Ronan's gaze could be described as panicked. Luna was so angry that she rushed to the side to pick up her own phone, wanting to find the post that Ronan had sent. A strange call came in at this time. Luna wanted to hang up, but somehow she pressed the answer button. "Don't bother looking," I said with a light laugh. "Finding that post won't help." "Selena, what are you calling for?" Luna wanted to scold me, but suddenly she froze. Slowly, Luna started trembling. You know about that post?" "Of course I know," I said with a smile. "Luna, why didn't you think about it?" Ronan has been abroad since middle school. After coming back to China, he even uses English when writing emails. How could he write such a long post in Chinese at great length? Cold sweat ran down Luna's forehead, smudging her delicate bridal makeup. I said softly, "I've been the one writing that post from the very beginning. Since the first time I caught Ronan and Luna in an ambiguous situation, I wrote this post. At that time, I didn't know yet that she was the one who killed James. I just wanted to take revenge, to retaliate for the harm she had done to me before. Now it's okay. Both old and new scores, we can settle them together. This wedding was a gift I prepared for Luna. I had been preparing for it for far too long." Under the gaze of all the guests, the warm VCR images on the big screen suddenly disappeared and were replaced by a harsh recording playing in a loop. "Dad, help me. I think I hit someone and killed them." Luna's sobbing voice echoed through the auditorium again and again. Her face was as pale as a sheet. She rushed forward to smash the speakers, but the police who rushed into the wedding venue pinned her down. In the audience seats, Aziel, Luna's father, had a livid face. And Mrs. Aziel, who was my mother, sighed softly, picked up her bag and left silently. When being taken away by the police, Luna tried her best to throw herself at Ronan. "Ronan, save me, please save me." She grabbed the trouser leg of Ronan's suit. Ronan really crouched down. Infinite hope flared up in Luna's eyes. However, Ronan just picked up her phone that had fallen aside. Selena. Ronan said to the phone in a daze. Where are you? I was at the wedding venue. The wedding venue for me and James. In front of me was the boundless sea. To marry James, this was the only way I could do it. Selena. He let go of his hand, and the phone fell into the seawater along with Ronan's hoarse shout. James, I'm coming to. Ronan heard the sound of the waves. He shouted at the top of his voice, Selena, Selena. Don't be silly, okay? Come back. We can talk everything through, Selena. He let go of his hand, and the phone fell into the seawater along with Ronan's hoarse shout. James, I'm coming to find you. Help. Someone was shouting. James, did you hear that? It seemed that someone was shouting for help. There was no direction in the seawater. I swallowed a lot of seawater and saw an orange lifebuoy. A little girl threw herself at me. Sister. I dejectedly lowered my eyelids. I didn't live a happy life on Earth properly. James was angry with me and refused to see me. The little girl's parents came up. They were a seemingly gentle middle-aged couple. They thanked me profusely, but I just let their words go in one ear and out the other. Until the wife asked me hesitantly, Excuse me, are you James' girlfriend? I was stunned. It was such a strange term. James had been dead for many years. I thought that except for me, no one remembered him anymore. I knew it. The wife happily patted her husband. The little girl also happily shouted, I heard it right. I said there was always someone shouting the name, James, in the sea. The couple told me that they used to be employees of James' father's company. When the wife's amniotic fluid broke when she was pregnant, she couldn't get a taxi in the middle of the night. When James heard about it, he drove over immediately. I remember it quite clearly. There was a little rabbit on the passenger seat, holding a photo of you too, the wife said with a smile. I was in so much pain at that time that I couldn't bear it. James told me to divert my attention and kept saying to me, Look at my girlfriend, look at my girlfriend. Isn't she especially pretty? I laughed, and tears fell down. He was always like that, showing off our love regardless of the occasion. It was so annoying. I told him many times not to do that. The wife's eyes also turned red. I told him that she was so pretty and he should cherish her well. He said he would cherish her and proposed marriage soon. A month later, James died in a car accident. A year later, I met Ronan, and then I found out that Ronan was Luna's friend. Fate has been spinning around, involving all of us in it. I stayed at the little girl's home. Her father had started his own business over the years and bought a villa by the sea. The couple said, James saved honey once back then, and you saved honey again. There's a bond. You can stay here as long as you want. The little girl named Honey didn't know why, but she especially liked to be close to me. Although she had her own room, she always came to sleep with me every time. During the day, her parents went out to work, and only she and I were at home. Sometimes we went to the beach to dig for crabs, and sometimes we built sandcastles. One day, there was a heavy rainstorm by the sea, and we couldn't go out to play, so we had to stay at home and watch the rain. She pointed at the water stains on the window. Does this look like a little dog? Quite like it. This looks like a pig. No, it looks like a cat. What about this one? This looks like a very tall and handsome man. Is it Brother James? I smiled and said, It really is. Suddenly, Honey shouted, Hey, a rabbit. I followed her gaze. It was Ronan. He had been standing in the heavy rain, holding a new rabbit. He didn't know how long he had been standing there. He was soaked through. I walked out. He looked at me and smiled bitterly. He said, Luna has told me everything. Luna was sentenced to death in the first trial. She didn't just flee the scene after causing an accident, but committed intentional homicide. The reason for killing was that she liked James. But James liked me. Luna didn't expect that the same thing would happen to Ronan a second time. She couldn't believe it and asked Ronan through the thick glass, Dare you say that you've never loved me? How could you have never loved me? Ronan paused for a moment and smiled ironically. Luna, both of us know exactly what kind of people we are, don't we? A femme fatale, a playboy. Both of them were too good at enjoying that kind of ambiguous relationship of being neither close nor distant, casually hugging and kissing, and then casually claiming later that they were just friends. They kissed thousands of people with their mouths, but their true hearts remained unmoved. I just didn't expect that I would be so reluctant to let Selena go, Ronan said softly. If I had known earlier, I would have sent you to prison myself for her sake. This sentence completely broke Luna down. She screamed, You love Selena? Then ask Selena if she loves you. Ronan, you've been deceived. She approached you just to take revenge on me. The person she loves is called James. At this moment, in the heavy rain, Ronan looked at me. I can pretend not to know. Selena, let's go home. I can pretend not to know about James, pretend that nothing has happened, as long as you come home with me. He tried to walk towards me. However, I took a step back. Sorry, Ronan, I can't pretend. Suddenly, he burst into tears. Why? Aren't you good at pretending? In the heavy rain, Ronan's eyes were red. Didn't you pretend to love me even though you didn't at all before? You could do it before. Why can't you do it now? Is it because I'm no longer of any use to you? Luna isn't dead yet. Ronan had no strength left. He bent down. The heavy rain pounded on his back. He knelt on the ground. Perhaps it wasn't love. It was just unwillingness. He said to himself. He couldn't bear the thought that Selena had never loved him, so he was willing to do whatever it took to get her back to his side, make her fall in love with him and then take revenge on her. Who let her keep using him? The thoughts in his mind were in a mess. When Ronan looked up again, he only saw Selena's back. The wind blew her final answer towards Ronan. Go and have a look at the rabbit I returned to you. The answers you care about are all on that rabbit. Ronan returned home soaking wet. He didn't bother to change his clothes and rushed towards the rabbit placed on the sofa. After a long while, he found a letter in the little rabbit's spacesuit. It was in Selena's familiar handwriting. The letter was addressed to James. James, it's been a long time since I last wrote to you, but today, I have something very important to tell you. I've met Someone. Maybe it's fate. His name is a bit similar to yours. But he's nothing like you. You're like a puppy, while he's like a kitten. He's very irritable, proud and easily gets upset. But if you stroke his fur the right way, he'll lie on his back in the sun and purr at you. He's been very kind to me. When I'm sick, he'll come back to accompany me immediately. A person who didn't even know how to turn on the gas stove started learning to cook just because I said I wanted to eat the food he made. He cut his hand while chopping vegetables and scalded his foot while blanching them. After getting many injuries, he's finally managed to make scrambled eggs with tomatoes that are edible. He's so proud and said that he'll learn to make more dishes for me in the future. James, I love him very much and want to be with him, and live a happy life with him till the end of my days. If you don't agree, send me a dream. I'll tell you more about him properly in the dream. The date at the end was 6 months ago. So back then, she did love him. He wasn't anyone's substitute. Instead, she was really trying hard to get over the past pain and make room in her heart for him. She couldn't have done it any better. It was he who didn't do well. He was the one who lost her with his own hands. On that day, the sky after the rainstorm was clear and yet cruel. A man in a suit, soaked through, was holding a rabbit in a daze and crying his heart out. In winter, I went traveling with Honey. She was very excited. As a child from the south who had never seen snow before, she had a snowball fight in the snow with me for a long time. After returning to the hotel, she still looked at the snowman under the window reluctantly. When I came out of the hot bath, I saw her pointing downstairs and saying, "There are 2 snowmen." I looked down. The other snowman was Ronan. He was kneeling in the vast expanse of white, covered with snow, and didn't move at all. I lowered my eyes and drew the curtain. "Will you forgive him?" Honey said. She was too young to understand what had happened. She just vaguely felt that it was a story about love and not loving. "Do you like your deskmate?" I asked. She blushed and said, "I don't like him." "Why?" I deliberately teased her. "Because he made me cry," Honey said angrily. I smiled and hugged her. "Yes, someone who truly loves you won't let you suffer even a little bit. So we shouldn't like the people who make us cry. What if I can't meet someone who truly loves me?" Honey was lost in thought. "It doesn't matter," I said softly. "Then love yourself and love the world." 27 James. I used to think that there would never be anyone like you. But now I understand. The wind is you, the clouds are you, the flowers are you, and a tiny hermit crab is also you. I will be happy. As long as I'm with you.